Recorded live from the John Platino studio inside of High Tech High School in Secaucus, New Jersey, it's the Esports Show on WHIT Podcasting. Call in, join the conversation at 201-589-0321. I'm your announcer, Mr. Krinsky, and now your host, Mateo Amy.
Good morning. I'm your host, Mateo Amy. And with me today is Lucas Velasquez, George Reyes, and Mr. Krinsky. Today's topic is how we won the Garden State Esports Championships and claimed the state championships title.
Very serious.
No. So
behind the glasses, you know who it is.
DePiro and crew. So, well, if the title didn't really say it for us, you guys did go and win the state championship for Smash Duos. How does that feel to you guys?
Pretty good. I mean, we didn't qualify last year because what was it? It was such a tight division stuff. But it was nice to take that, I guess.
Yeah.
What about you?
It feels good because last year I wasn't even in the duos because a certain someone was playing instead. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to win.
George, what about you?
Yeah, no, you guys really did good. I saw a great clip where Mateo, helped Luigi get a special attack on, which got an instant kill on an opponent. And, the teamwork was really there, really great. It shows how High Tech is really, winning it for the gold. We're in it for the win.
Yeah,
you guys really showed like great synergy, and that all your practice pretty much went to the finals and came out on top. Personally, I felt like this was a little bit easier than your usual final matches. Normally it's a little more high stake where we had to do a semifinals and then a finals, but this was straight to the finals, and you kind of got through it pretty quickly against Lake Opacon. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy. I mean, not to it's pretty easy. No, wait, but hold on, wait, because the way that they split the divisions up, it just kind of felt. I mean, it felt nice to win, but it also was like I kind of wanted to play against everybody else that was in the other divisions because the skill level difference was pretty noticeable between the matches if you actually went and saw. So.
Yeah, the other teams had some really good matches. I know Union City, they ended up losing their match, but it was pretty close for the most part, and everyone else pretty much played well. So next year, do you think we'll take it again?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I believe next one is going to be Cruise for the first season, and then I believe Duos for the
spring season.
Spring season, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing Street Fighter again for the winter.
Are you gonna take on Street Fighter again with?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll play the game this time. I'll play the game this time.
I know he carried last time, but we got it next time. We got it next time. Us and Ethan will win for the next season.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about for the state championship?
I'm looking forward to next year, especially because I know after the loss of PatCon, Mr. Bell, one of their players, was feeling really fired up about it. He really wants to win one. I can tell. I can see that passion. I can see that he really wants to take one. So we just have to do our best and not let it be us.
Nice. So before we move forward to nationals, we do have to address some messages that we've gotten since the last podcast, mainly pertaining to George.
Okay.
Yeah. It was brought to our attention that you were in a fight at an IHOP the other day.
Oh, that is not true, Mr. Krinsky. I can assure that.
Not from the footage that we saw. So do you want to address that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter too. It was crazy.
You might have to. I mean, did I win at least? I don't even know.
589K likes. I think that might be the most amount of likes.
Oh, really? You gotta send it to me later.
Yeah,
I gotta look at
that
the
was
footage.
Like 2 kids, man.
Oh.
The guy was 60 years old. He could barely walk.
So do you want to explain yourself for the audience just to clear the air?
That did not happen, guys. I'm being framed. The footage they have is AI generated. This is not true, guys. It's not true. They're going crazy.
We just got word that our George's lawyer said we can't
talk
more about this at the moment. So I guess we'll just leave it at that for now. So let's talk nationals. So like we said last time, you guys are in it each for the Smash solos, and you're all in it for the Cruise, and George and the rest of the chess team are in it for chess.
Yeah.
Now, chess is playing a little bit earlier than the rest of the team, so how do you feel about that?
you know, it's like less time to prepare ourselves, but I'm sure that we can take most certainly the win. Um, we made it there undefeated and one season to play in, and you know, I have a lot of faith in the team. So I think
Mm.
with enough, um, with enough practice that we've had this year is enough to take it home.
How much sooner is the chess competition
I
compared
believe
to
it's
ours?
a week
Still
sooner.
A week, right?
Yeah, and it's virtual, unlike
Yes.
ours in
Yes.
person.
So you'll be playing for that
Mhm.
weekend.
Yeah. So, do you feel like there's a big difference between playing virtually or in person?
It does, change the environment, like feeling. It's not, I personally, I think it's not as intense
Mhm.
because when you're playing virtually, you do have that help from the websites. Like it tells you each type of move you can make.
Mhm.
It tells you, when your keying is in check.
Mhm.
Where in person, it's a kind of a different feeling. But I think that doesn't really affect our gameplay as much as it may. Uh, yeah, so I feel like we can play with it, we can ride with it. I think we'd be fine. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. So moving on to let's do Smash Cruise next because we did one season of that. We won our matches, so you guys got that full invitation right from the get go. How do you three feel about that so far?
Honestly, I feel. I mean, apart from singles, cruise is like my next favorite thing to do. Not only because, what's it called? Um, it's fun to play in, but I like playing with my teammates and taking out everybody and like consecutively because it's kind of funny. Because it doesn't work the way like singles do. So for those of you who don't know what a crew battle is, it's like you have two teams. Both teams have a certain amount of players. For nationals, we have 3-on-3. So it'll be me, Mateo, and George up against three of the other schools' players. And it pretty much goes how Team A will send in their first player, same as Team B. They'd play. We have 3 stocks each, 3 lives. Let's say I win, but I lose 1 stock in the process. That means that I go into the next match playing their second player with only 2 lives. And then it keeps on going until one of them runs out of players.
Yeah, it's essentially like survival of the fittest in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this format is actually different, where it's basically just a series of 1v1s. So it's basically each team decides a player to send out, and it's just a best of 3. And then it's a best of 3 for the best of 3s.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. It's weird how they do it. I'm going to try and see if I can talk to the administration to like actually,
And help
Change
convince
it.
them to change it to
Mm.
the
because I find that pretty unfair to label it as crew battles when it's not actually a crew battle.
Mhm.
That's what most of the community determines that.
yeah, I think
So,
what separates this apart from normal crew battles is that the strategy of who you send in for the 1v1s, it becomes a lot more strategic in that sense. It's less about like how many stocks you can take at this moment. It's more about who has the best matchup here, which person has the best player to player matchup, which person has the best character to character matchup.
yeah, this
Do
is
you
quite
want-
literally a.
Do you maybe want
yeah.
to send out? Do you maybe want to send out your least fitted player against their most fitted player to like you can go down one, but you have a better chance in your next 2 matchups.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like playing rock, paper, scissors essentially, whereas actually working as a team and, not worrying too much about the send outs, but also keeping that in mind and, having that, my teammate will cover me if I, lose
Yeah.
a certain amount of lives
It's
here.
kind of like figuring out like, oh, do I we throw in the anchor right now or just kind of keep it towards the end?
Yeah, so it kind of loses a lot of the team part of the whole
Yeah.
thing because it's mostly just the leaders doing it like, hey, I'm going to send out this player against them. We have a not so great player. Let's just send them out against the best player so that we can get him out of the way, have the loss there, and then make it up with our 2 good players and win. So it's kind of weird in that sense.
George, what are you?
Yeah. No, I feel like, this format, also kind of influences the fact that, you should have a balanced team that can work around anything really
Mhm.
that you're thrown at, because the more balanced and well-rounded your team is, the better chance you have fighting any like opponent that is thrown to fight you. If you have a really tough opponent, really tough matchup, but you don't know who you're gonna be sent out to. So really being able to adapt to those moments can make or like it's a deal breaker
Mhm.
for the
Can make a
for
break.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can make a break.
And I guess this really goes hand in hand with like the practices because since you are doing the solos as well, like you're playing a bunch of different characters, getting used to a bunch of different characters, but as you're practicing with each other, you kind of realize who each other's strengths and weaknesses are based on your own player skill and your character's matchup settings. So it kind of works out hand in hand for at least our team when we come to practicing and having all that set up.
Yeah, most definitely. Also, one thing that George mentioned that I don't think we ever talked about was the setting of online versus offline.
Mm.
Oh yes.
You know, playing Smash specifically. I feel like that's a big thing when it comes to, you know, people competing. So I think it's something to talk about. George, would you like to start off with
With
your
Smash? I
experiences?
You know, online with Smash, the frame delay, the lag, those are really the biggest negatives of playing online, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Because in person, you don't get that like bad experiences per se. In person, you know, you don't have that input delay, you don't have that freezing moments of the screen, right? So personally, and I feel like most of the community would agree, in person is just way better.
It's a lot more personable too.
Yeah. You also have that, you know, competitive scenery with you.
It also has that intimidation factor as well when
Yeah,
you're
that
completing
too.
offline compared to online, which is what I think gets a lot of people, especially for the first time competing, because you can be in a really good mindset, you know, at the comfort of your home, playing your matches, you know what to do, you can think it through, talk out loud. When you're in an in-person scenario, right, it's like, you know, you're sitting next to the guy, it's like you have this pressure on you. And I'm pretty sure all of us have fallen victim to that at some point in our competitive lives. I know, George, you're still dealing with that. Mateo, how do you feel?
I feel way better about that than when I first started playing in tournament. I've entered enough brackets to the point where I feel more confident in my play in bracket, and it might not be as good as my play like even online in bracket or just online not in bracket, but I still feel like there's a gap between the people who compete at tournaments regularly and the people who don't compete at tournaments, just in pure tournament scenario, like in just the pressure of the tournament, it gets to you way more than you would think.
Yeah, I think you guys have a very big advantage with that because you guys have been playing in local tournaments. You've been playing in person and online for so many years. And I think you get a lot more of the nuances of the meta of the whole scenario where you guys know, like, oh, well, these controllers have the input delay, these TVs have the input delay, and pretty much everything down to essentially like fractions of a frame in some cases in how the game works. And you guys are able to adjust and adapt to that accordingly, which I think gives you that little extra boon on top of your play skill.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing to know actually is that all of our characters get better offline. Some characters get better offline or online due to lots of factors. Online, a lot of things are less reactable. It's harder to play reactionary, so you have to just like normally characters who have like larger, safer moves that are like less risky to throw out and are like super strong. They get even better online, especially like the fast moves. Like characters for Sonic, for example, can be argued as number one character online, where they're like not number one offline. Surely, purely because they just become unreactable. Characters like Samus, Duck Hunt, just get infinitely better off online. And then all of our characters, they get worse off online. Our characters get better online.
Because I mean, you play Diddy Kong. That's a pretty,
reactive
high
character.
Yeah.
in terms of you actually playing that, like the other person reacting to your things. Because he's like more of like a on your feet type character, and if your inputs aren't all there, then Diddy Kong falls off. Same with Joker as well. And with Luigi, I feel like it's like a 50-50 scenario because it depends the way that you play the character, because you can either go for the mashing, I'm going to press one move out of disadvantage and get out of it online, and they can't really do anything about it. Or, you're offline, that person, they can react to that one move. So you'd have to play around that move. But you also, gain the ability to use everything else without having to worry about missing the combos and stuff. So execution is definitely better offline when it comes to online.
Yeah, I don't really have much to weigh in on that because I'm a Wash Cat player playing a very niche character itself, so not that great either way. So anything you guys want to talk about for solos?
You can start off too.
Round robin pools. I think this is possibly the best format they could have done. I think round robin pools is the single greatest format for any tournament. I think every tournament should run it. It allows like every player to get way more games in. It pretty much decides like the better player will always get out of their pool. It's a much more skill-based method. Even if you lose a game, if other people who you beat, or you beat a person who's doing well, you can still make it out of your pool.
Mm.
You know,
That is also something that I agree with, especially with these invitational tournaments. I really like the way that they're running it this time compared to last year, because last year was all just like a double
Yeah.
elimination bracket. This year we have the pools in the round robin. So as Mateo said, if I were to lose one match but win all my other like 6, it wouldn't
Mhm.
really matter. I would still come out on top, just because of the win and loss ratio. So I feel like we would have a better chance of
Mhm.
all making it out.
Well, I personally feel like it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. Like, yes, you have all those advantages, but like the biggest disadvantage of that is the situation where you will play again, have a chance of playing against each other. I know you, Lucas and Mateo, you guys are pretty much in the clear because you are the higher seeds.
Yeah.
George, because you only played the one season.
Yeah.
You're ranked down a little lower,
Mhm.
which kind of puts you in the worst situation. Not gonna
Mhm.
lie.
Yeah.
Just because you have that situation where you might be in a pool with Lucas or Mateo,
Uh-huh.
which we obviously don't want to have
Yeah.
you get knocked out for it. So we're going to really just pray that you get into a different pool than them and really just hope for the best in that scenario, because I think you're the only one who ends up having that disadvantage because of that. So what do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's all because really I played one season. At least I did make it with that one season, and I didn't have to play another. It would have been nice to have a higher seed, but if we run with luck and we don't make it in the same pools, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That's really all we're gonna hope for.
Yeah, it was nothing against your skill in having the lower seed. It was just really based on time constraints.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that George will have to end up playing one of us in pools. I'm pretty sure that they'll recognize that, hey, they paid all this money to come out. Let's
Yeah.
just put them in separate pools for right now.
Yeah.
And if they do make it out, like what happened last year, me and he graduated, but Elio, we had to end up playing in nationals for a quarterfinal in the winner side bracket, and I felt bad, but I had to send him to losers bracket for that one.
That's okay, because we had to have him kind of clear out that area too.
Yeah, true. That's also it's a double-edged sword. I guess.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Like you'd have somebody coming from the top of the top, and then someone coming from the top of the bottom.
Mhm.
one thing I've also noticed this year compared to last year is the competition seems lower level. And also the people who are competing don't have as many tournaments entered. I've been doing research on like the characters the opponents will be playing. I've been checking their PG stats, which is a website you can use to track data of your opponents. And some of them that have qualified don't even have PG stats pages, meaning they've never entered a tournament, or they have like 5 tournaments entered, which in the grand scheme of things is not that much. A lot of them I can tell are not going to be used to the tournament pressure, and it makes our jobs easier because not only will they be fighting us, they'll be fighting themselves.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys definitely deal with a crowd a lot better than anyone else could really do, because you're just having a bunch of people screaming in the background. Like,
Oh, I'm so used to that.
yeah, I looked at. I've never really had that like kind of phobia, or like that never really got to me. But I never really played well to begin with, so I don't really
But,
get what's going on.
it hit me hard at first. Like I still struggle with that issue. Blah blah blah. Okay, it really like hit me hard at first because one of my first times competing was at a big tournament, and I was playing against some guy that had a whole bunch, like a group of friends that was literally right behind us, screaming in my ear,
Yeah.
for the other player to win and putting me down in a sense, so I can hear.
Yeah, but the mental game definitely does take a huge part in actually playing. That's like pretty much half the game in some cases.
Most
So,
definitely.
If you're able to get over that aspect of it, you're pretty golden in
Yeah.
a lot of it. Then it just comes down to your skill over the other person's.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
also
is-
tournament play, it's also stricter in a sense because some characters are rewarded more in tournament compared to other characters. Difficult characters that require you to think a lot, like Diddy Kong, for example, do worse in tournament because you have to deal with the pressure to deal with it. And you do tournament pressure, you just forget sometimes. You just forget all the things you have to do. You have too many options, which can be a blessing and a curse. Compared to like a character, let's say Me Brawler, for example. A character like Me Brawler has a simple win condition. You grab on a platform or you grab on stage at a certain percent, and then you can just like do a true confirm that will kill them in most cases. So you can play to your win condition significantly easier compared to a harder character like Diddy Kong or Lucas or like, yeah.
And characters that make you think constantly throughout a tournament really burn you out the more matches you play. So yeah, like if you have a hard character, that has you constantly thinking of every situation, every option the opponent throws at you, it really burns you out the more you play because you have that constant games, those constant thinkings, and it's not like you have a break in between the games. You go from one game to the next, so yeah.
I'm definitely more on the lower end with my character of that, let's say. Because I mean, Luigi, he has, everybody likes to call it the zero to death. He gets his one grab, and then, he can potentially kill your opponent at 0. And there you go, there goes a life, and you're at a major advantage. But the only downside with that is that, again, with competing offline, the other player, could be feeling the adrenaline, have, a much better mindset than you do, and you fall into your habits. It's not like the move is the best move in the game. It's quite slow to even land in the first place. So if you have an opponent that's aware of that and knows their win conditions, then it does make my life a lot harder, which is what kind of differentiates my character from their characters, because they can have, an even uphill battle, but the second that I throw out a bad option, my disadvantage is absolutely horrendous. So that's why my character is mid tier, and all your characters are high tier and above. So,
but yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about before we cut to the end? Are you guys good to go?
Yeah, wish us luck in the upcoming games, upcoming tournaments, and we'll win hopefully.
Yeah, we'll hopefully take home 3 trophies this year for chess, solos, and crews.
Yeah.
But we might be back before we head out, or you might hear back from us if we're lucky when we come back. I don't know, due to the scheduling of the school year and all that.
I think we come back on the last day of school,
Yeah,
so
we
we'll be
do.
missing. But
hopefully you'll just keep a lookout on High Tech social media, and you'll see hopefully some trophies in the photo.
yes.
But yeah. Thanks for watching the Esports Show. Tune into WHIT Podcasting's YouTube and Twitter pages for more info and shows. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching, and thanks to our panel. I'm Mateo Amy, and this is the Esports Show on WHIT Podcasting.